Hello everyone, and welcome back to our discussion on Julius Caesar. Today we are going to do Act 2, Scene 2. So in this scene, we're switching then from in the prior scene being in Brutus's home to now being in Caesar's home in Rome. So we have this new setting, and also in terms of setting, a new time. So we are officially past dawn on March 15th. So the Ides of March are officially here, and people are getting up and getting about their day. But we see that Caesar and Calpurnia, Caesar's wife, have both slept poorly because of the storm. So remember, we're still going to see how weather, right, is used by Shakespeare to sort of give hints, right, that not everything is going well, that certain things are amiss, right, this sort of warning of what is to come. And in this scene in particular, in terms of context, we're going to be looking at how Caesar and Calpurnia sort of have this exchange, similar in some respects to the exchange that Brutus and Portia have with one another. And looking at how Calpurnia is going to try to convince Caesar to stay home. And then, showing up just when we do not want them to, we're going to see Decius and the rest of the conspirators. And they are going to arrive to sort of foul Calpurnia's plans and to get Caesar to go to the capital anyway. So in this scene, not only are we dealing with Caesar, Calpurnia, and their servants, but also in particular these group of conspirators. So Decius, Publius, Trebonius, and Brutus, but also, right, this one sole friend that Caesar still has amongst the bunch, Antony. Enter Caesar in his nightgown. Nor heaven nor earth have been at peace tonight. Thrice hath Calpurnia in her sleep cried out, Help, ho! They murder Caesar! Who is within? Enter a servant. My lord, go bid the priests do present sacrifice, and bring me their opinions of success. I will, my lord. Exit. Enter Caesar's wife, Calpurnia, alarmed. What mean you, Caesar? Think you to walk forth? You shall not stir out of your house today. Caesar shall forth. The things that threatened me ne'er looked but on my back. When they shall see the face of Caesar, they are vanished. Caesar, I never stood on ceremonies, yet now they fright me. There is one within, besides the things that we have heard and seen, recounts most horrid sights seen by the watch. A lioness hath whelped in the streets, and graves have yawned and yielded up their dead. Fierce, fiery warriors fought upon the clouds in ranks and squadrons, the right form of war, which drizzled blood upon the Capitol. The noise of battle hurtled in the air. Horses did neigh, and dying men did groan, and ghosts did shriek and squeal about the streets. O Caesar, these things are beyond all use, and I do fear them. What can be avoided, whose end is purposed by the mighty gods? Yet Caesar shall go forth, for these predictions are to the world in general as to Caesar. When beggars die, there are no comets seen. The heavens themselves blaze forth the death of princes. Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once. Of all the wonders that I yet have heard, it seems to me most strange that men should fear, seeing that death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. Re-enter servant. What say the augurers? They would not have you to stir forth today. Plucking the entrails of an offering forth, they could not find a heart within the beast. The gods do this in shame of cowardice. Caesar should be a beast without a heart if he should stay at home today for fear. No, Caesar shall not. Danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he. We are two lions littered in one day, and I the elder and more terrible, and Caesar shall go forth. Alas, my lord, your wisdom is consumed in confidence. Do not go forth today. Call it my fear that keeps you in the house, and not your own. We'll send Mark Antony to the Senate house, and he shall say you are not well today. Let me upon my knee prevail in this. Mark Antony shall say I am not well, and for thy humor I will stay at home. Enter Decius. Here's Decius Brutus. He shall tell them so. Caesar, All hail! Good morrow, worthy Caesar! I come to fetch you to the Senate house. And you are come in very happy time to bear my greetings to the senators, and tell them that I will not come today. Cannot is false, and that I dare not, falser. I will not come today. Tell them so, Decius. Say he is sick. Shall Caesar send a lie? Have I in conquest stretched mine arm so far to be afeard to tell greybeards the truth? Decius, go tell them Caesar will not come. Most mighty Caesar, let me know some cause, lest I be laughed at when I tell them so. The cause is in my will. I will not come. That is enough to satisfy the Senate. But for your private satisfaction, because I love you, I will let you know. Calpurnia here, my wife, stays me at home. She dreamt tonight she saw my statue, which, like a fountain with 100 spouts, did run pure blood, and many lusty Romans came smiling, and did bathe their hands in it. And these does she apply for warnings and portents and evil imminent, and on her knee hath begged that I will stay at home today. This dream is all misinterpreted. It was a vision fair and fortunate. Your statue spouting blood in many pipes, in which so many smiling Romans bathed, signifies that from you great Rome shall suck reviving blood, and that great men shall press for tinctures, stains, relics, and cognizance. This by Calpurnia's dream is signified. And this way have you well expounded it. I have, when you have heard what I can say. You know it now. The Senate have concluded to give this day a crown to mighty Caesar. If you shall send them words you will not come, their minds may change. Besides, it were a mock apt to be rendered, for someone to say, break up the Senate till another time, when Caesar's wife shall meet with better dreams. If Caesar hide himself, shall they not whisper, lo, Caesar is afraid? Pardon me, Caesar, for my dear, dear love to your proceedings bids me tell you this, and reason to my love is liable. How foolish do your fears seem now, Calpurnia! I am ashamed I did yield to them. Give me my robe, for I will go. Enter Brutus, Ligarius, Metellus, Casca, Trebonius, Cinna, and Publius. And look where Publius is come to fetch me. Good morrow, Caesar. Welcome, Publius. What, Brutus, are you stirred so early too? Good morrow, Casca. Caius Ligarius. Caesar was ne'er so much your enemy as that same og which hath made you lean. What is the clock? Caesar, 'tis stricken 8. I thank you for your pains and courtesy. Enter Antony. See, Antony, that revels long a nights, is notwithstanding up. Good morrow, Antony. So to most noble Caesar. Bid them prepare within. I am to blame to be thus waited for. Now, Cinna. Now, Metellus. What, Trebonius? I have an hour's talk in store for you. Remember that you call on me today. Be near me, that I may remember you. Caesar, I will. Aside. And so near will I be, that your best friends shall wish I had been further. Good friends, go in and taste some wine with me, and we, like friends, will straightway go together. Aside. That every like is not the same, O Caesar, the heart of Brutus yearns to think upon. Exeunt. So in this scene, we have a lot going on, and throughout this scene also, we should be severely frustrated with the lack of ability of Caesar to see what is going on in front of him. And the first thing that I want to draw our attention to, right, is the continued use of the weather, and how the weather is going to play a role in putting certain characters on edge, right, and rightly so. And again, noting that Shakespeare is going to have none of these characters rightly interpreting these signs, right? Because Caesar, although he's going to note and point out that all of the heavens and the earth have been turned upside down with this weather, he doesn't seem super concerned about it. And he's also going to note and give us a hint of what's to come, that Calpurnia, his wife, has in her sleep 3 times, that's a thrice, cried out that someone is trying to murder Caesar, right? So we can definitely tell that Calpurnia has not had a good night going on. But this also brings up the instance of dramatic irony that we see at play from the moment we realize the conspiracy is a go and who is involved, and that Caesar has no idea. And here we see that Caesar is, unlike earlier, right, he's going to sort of give in to superstition in a sense of looking towards the supernatural for answers. And he's going to ask his servant to go and have the priest present a sacrifice, so an animal sacrifice in this instance. And he says to bring me their opinions of success. So success not meaning he wants a good outcome, but saying that he wants them to read sort of the bodily signs of this sacrifice and tell him, is today going to be a good day or a bad day? And this is where we see Calpurnia waking up. She's probably woken up in her bed, seen that Caesar is not there, freaked out, rightfully so, and gone to look for him and find him sort of up and about and ready to go about his day. And this is where she urges and pleads with him, do not go out of the house today. And immediately, Caesar, being the confident, boastful, and severely overconfident character that he is, essentially tells her, I am going to go anyway, right? That these threats, right, even if they apply to me, in the face of me, they disappear, right? This is this phrase that he uses. Things that threaten me never look but on my back, right? Meaning that in a sense, he sort of turns his back to danger. He's not afraid. And this is going to set the stage for this dynamic that we see going on between Calpurnia and Caesar, where we have Calpurnia with her genuine distress about what she fears are omens of Caesar's demise, and Caesar's overconfidence. And as we look at this scene together, we also want to pay close attention to how we can compare their relationship with that of Brutus and Portia from the scene prior. So again, we're going to see Calpurnia sort of try to speak to Caesar's reason, and she starts by saying that she's not usually one to give in to ceremonies, meaning that she's not someone to usually be superstitious. But she says, I, even now, am frightened, meaning that if I am frightened and I don't usually give in to these things, Caesar, you also need to be afraid. And she starts by pointing out these different things that this watchman, so people who have been on the guard in Rome, have seen in the middle of the night. And we need to notice, right, and recall that these things are things that Casca himself have seen, right? So again, noticing how just the night before the Ides of March has been a complete terror for everyone, right? You have the lioness who is walking around the streets of Rome. You have people who have risen up from their graves, right? So thinking zombies. You have these fierce, fiery warriors fighting from the clouds. Even the heavens are at battle with one another. She goes on to say, right, that they have horses neighing outside. You have dying men that are groaning, right? Meaning they're on their deathbed. Ghosts shrieking and squealing in the streets, right? And she's saying, like, Caesar, these things are beyond all use, meaning we have never seen anything like this before, so you need to take this as a warning, right? And rightfully so. We can imagine ourselves in her shoes. If we saw these things, we would rightfully think probably a sign that something not so good is going to happen today. And here we see Caesar sort of essentially telling her that I'm going to go about my day anyway, right? Because these predictions, even if they are bad, right, are for the world in general, as they are to me, meaning it's not just a bad omen for me. It's bad for everyone, right? So Calpurnia is urging him, right, this is specifically for you. But Caesar is not hearing it. And so in an attempt to try to convince him, she begins by talking about his status, which is an intelligent move to make, right? Because we already have seen how confident Caesar is and how much he values his sort of stance in society. And so she makes a statement that when beggars die, there are no comets seen, meaning that when normal people die, right, people beneath your station, you don't see the heavens making such a fuss about it. But when the heavens blaze forth, yeah, they do that for the death of princes, blazing forth, right, which we've already seen confirmed by not just Casca, but now by Calpurnia herself. And again, not one to be moved, Caesar continues, and he sort of counters what she's saying, right? So cowards die many times before their deaths, right? So he's essentially saying death is not a problem for me, right? Because I would rather be courageous or valiant and die once than to be a coward and die many times, right? And here, this is sort of a metaphor for saying that when we go about living our life, if we give in to our cowardice, we die in the sense that we miss out on the things that are important in life. And so Caesar doesn't want to miss out on those things. And in the middle of this conversation, we see the servant re-enter and come to bring news of what the fortune tellers and what the priests and the seers have seen in terms of their sacrifice. And lo and behold, the servant confirms just what Calpurnia has been fearing, that today is not a good day for Caesar to go out. Primarily because as they've been looking through the entrails, that means the innards, right, of that animal, they noticed that the beast did not have a heart, right? So essentially saying, right, that this is not normal. Scientifically, even back then, they knew this was not a good sign. So they're taking it as sort of this idea of, Caesar, you need to beware, do not go out today. But Caesar, again, right, thinking back to this sort of people interpreting signs in the way that they want to see them, that Caesar takes this to mean that I do need to go outside, right? So ignoring the fact that he's completely asked for this in the first place, he goes on to say that this is a sign from the gods that if I stay at home, I would be a coward, meaning, just like this beast, I would be without a heart. I would be without this source of bravery. So Caesar, up until this point, is not going to listen to Calpurnia. And he restates it here, right? And this is where we see his hubris or his pride just go up to skyrocketing levels, right? Because he compares himself to danger, right? And here he's doing so by personifying danger. He says that danger knows full well that Caesar is more dangerous than he is. So he's essentially saying, I can go out and do what I want because danger should be afraid of me. And he goes on to make this metaphor, this comparison in terms of two lions who are littered or born in one day. And he says that I am the one who is older or elder, and I'm more terrible. And because of this, I will go out today. So we see here just huge amounts of pride in Caesar that are going to lead to his downfall. And Calpurnia, the wise woman that she is, much like Portia in this respect, right? She picks up on the weaknesses of her husband just as Portia has done. And she says, your wisdom is consumed in confidence, meaning that your wisdom, right, in choosing to go out today or not go out today is totally outweighed by your self-confidence, this overinflating of your ego. And here she begs him, and she gets down on her knees, again, just like Portia did with Brutus, right? She doesn't go to that extreme of stabbing herself in the thigh, but she again makes this just pleading and begging, Caesar, don't go. And it's this sign of sort of, to use Shakespeare's right use of women in terms of how they're treated in the play, this sort of sign of womanly weakness, right? Saying this from Caesar's or Shakespeare's point of view, definitely not mine, right? But that in seeing this display of femininity, right, in this instance, it moves Caesar to make that statement of, okay, I will do this for your sake, right? I'm okay, but because you are not feeling good about this, I'll stay home, right? And in the very next line, right? This is probably your face, just like it is mine right now. We see Decius come in, And this we know is going to spell the end of Caesar's promise to Calpurnia, because Decius has already made this boast that he is able to convince Caesar to do whatever he wants through flattery. And we've already seen that Caesar is prideful. He's overconfident. He boasts a lot. So we've already seen how he can definitely give in to his sort of prideful nature and flattery. And he begins by calling him worthy Caesar, which, again, speaking back to dramatic irony, you and I both know that is not at all how Decius sees him. So even the first words out of his mouth are beginning the use of flattery to get Caesar to leave his home. And we see that the flattery begins to work on Caesar, right? He gives all of these greetings to everyone, and he begins by trying to keep his promise to Calpurnia. But he does so in a way where he still tries to show what a strong person he is, because he says, don't say that I cannot, because that's not true, I can. And don't say that I dare not, right? That's even worse, right? It's not that I'm afraid. Just tell them I won't come. And Calpurnia jumping in with what they've already agreed on, right, a moment ago, tell them you're sick. Caesar not wanting to seem weak in front of Decius, right, begins, shall Caesar send a lie? Like, you were just about to do that in the slide previous, but now, in front of Decius, he wouldn't even think of it, right? And he sort of does this in sort of comparing himself with the rest of the Senate and belittling them, right? Calling them these graybeards. So essentially saying, why would I lie? Does that make sense, right? I'm not afraid of these old guys. I'm going to tell the truth. But my truth is, Decius, I'm just not going to go. And Decius, smart, right? Because he already knows why Caesar doesn't want to go, right? He's been warned that Caesar has been more superstitious these days. And he asks him for a response. I need to tell them something. Caesar, they're going to laugh me out of the Senate. Give me something. And Caesar essentially says, the cause is that I will it. I don't want to come. Tell them that. But then, right, because he trusts Decius when he should not, right, wrongly judging his character, he says, because I love you, I will tell you the truth. And the truth is that Calpurnia here, my wife, wants me to stay at home. And now here, Caesar is going to explain exactly why Calpurnia doesn't want him to go. And he reveals the dream that she's had to Decius, right, the one that we already know, and that she has interpreted as these signs of evil to come, and that she's begged me to stay home today, and so I am. But Decius, always quick on his feet, right, has said, oh, don't worry, is that the only reason you don't want to come? I can fix this for you. The way she's interpreted the dream is wrong. This is a good vision, a vision of fortune, right? And you and I should be thinking, how on earth is he going to spin this? But spin it, he does. And he says, right, that the blood spouting out of you in many pipes, these are all good things. And they're good because they're going to symbolize how important you are to Rome. Like, your blood is this reviving blood that all these great men of Rome shall press into you for tinctures, right? Or meaning these sort of potions, for lack of a better word, for healing, or stains and relics, right? So these essentially putting Caesar in this position of, you are like a god to these people. That is why they want your blood. And Caesar, always quick, right, when it comes to his image being lifted up, quick to agree with that. He says that you have expounded it well. So Caesar easily gives into this sort of strange interpretation of Decius's dream, right? You and I, in terms of analysis, would definitely agree more with Calpurnia, right? Her dream seems to be one that is ominous, not a good sign at all. But then Decius sort of brings it up a notch, and he makes sure that Caesar's going to go. And he reminds him, or sort of essentially tells him, right, all these rumors that have been going around, they're true, that the Senate wants to crown you emperor, king. And this is the promise he's going to use to lure Caesar to the capital. And he begins by just dangling this sort of treat of being emperor in his face, and he essentially says, right, first, if you don't come, right, one, the Senate might change their mind. They might take the crown away from you. Even worse than that, they might be rendered, right, or sort of responsive and making fun of and mocking you, right, saying that let's hold the Senate at another time when Caesar's wife is having good dreams, right, so clearly mocking Calpurnia in her position as his wife, someone who loves him and fears for him, and mocking her status as a woman, right? Something we've constantly seen throughout the play, which is ironic because the women in these past two scenes that we've seen are trying to speak reason that no one is listening to. Another thing he brings up is that people are going to think that you're afraid, Caesar. And this is a good one, right? He also, in the very next line, says, because I love you, that I have this dear, dear love for you, right? This repetition of that word. And here he says, and because my reason to my love is liable, meaning my reason is outweighed by my love for you, meaning that I am telling you these things from the bottom of my heart. I don't want you to be viewed as someone who's cowardly, someone who listens to the whims of your wife. And this immediately causes Caesar to be on Decius' side. And the first thing he does, and what we see then is the biggest sort of persuasive element here, is that Caesar, straight away, right, sort of mocks Calpurnia, right, for her fears. And he is very cold in the way he treats her now, right, so very, very different in terms of how Brutus has responded to Portia's pain, right, that Calpurnia's pain is sort of mocked and pushed to the side just with a few words of someone who is planning the death of Caesar. Now here we see the intense importance of dramatic irony here, because Caesar's welcoming all of these men who not even a few hours ago plotted to kill him, right? The plan is set in motion. And here I want to highlight this because we see that Caesar makes a jibe at Caius Ligarius for his sickness. And he said that I was never so much your enemy as the sickness that's made you sort of lean or thin looking. And this, guys, we already know that Caius is not a fan of Caesar. So really, Caesar's words, he means them in mock or in jest. But if he only really knew the depth of what is being said, and that Caius is in fact a enemy of Caesar. And then again, we see that everything is going on track in terms of their timing, so they are there at 8 o'clock as they had planned. And painfully, right? Caesar is thanking Brutus for his pains and his courtesy, right? Thanking him far too quickly. And then Caesar, again, remember, he's in this heightened state of elation because he knows he's going to be crowned in a bit. And so he starts just mouthing off to everyone in a sense of his pride overflowing. And he turns to Trebonius and essentially says, right, that I have an hour's talk in store for you. Remember that you called on me today on this day, this most glorious of days, and be near me, that I can remember you. So essentially saying, like, I'm going to be in this good status of power and wealth. So stay close to me so you can benefit. And here we're going to end this scene by tragically understanding, again, dramatic irony, so important in this play, you guys, of what Caesar is missing. So here we're going to see that Caesar remains oblivious to the treachery around him. This is going to constantly have us pulling at our hair at how his pride blinds him to the obvious. Right? Trebonius sort of promises to stay close to Caesar, and then just turning off to the side, whispering to himself, right? Promises that he'll be so near to him, meaning he's going to be near enough to kill him, that his friends would have wished him elsewhere. And then again, just highlighting how blind Caesar is to the true nature of people around him. He calls them good friends, not once, but twice. And this is too much for the Honorable Brutus. And he ends this scene with his own aside, essentially grieving the fact that he has to be so deceitful to Caesar, right? But a deceit that he has acknowledged is necessary. This is going to be it for our look at Act 2, Scene 2. And I have a little bit of homework for you guys, not too much, okay? I would like you to read the next 2 scenes of Act 2, so Scene 3 and Scene 4. This is page 731 to page 733 of your literature textbook. If you don't have your book, do not fear. I'll post those scenes for you on Google Classroom so you can have access to them. And as you read through them, I'd like you to take notes and then attach them or submit them on Google Classroom to show me that you've finished that assignment. And here are some questions to consider if you are struggling in writing notes or knowing what sort of notes to take. So 1, how would you summarize the action in these 2 scenes and what sort of characters are introduced? What role do you see fate play in these scenes? What about the treatment of women, right? How do we see that shine through? And then what might be the purpose of having scenes so short right before Caesar's trip to the capital? So our past scenes in Acts 2 have been rather long, right? But now, back to back, right when we just left off with Caesar going to the capital, we're given these 2 short scenes. So what might Shakespeare be doing with that? And so I'd like everyone to upload those by this Friday at midnight, so Friday, May 22nd. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.